I shouldn't be saying this, but the reason you're stuck isn't lack of discipline, it's lack of clarity. You call it procrastination, I call it rust. Invisible, silent, and slow. It eats away at your will to move, your trust in your own timing, your fire to begin. Every time you say later, you're actually whispering never, and the brain loves it because later is safe. Later doesn't risk failure. Later keeps the dopamine loop spinning. Scroll, reward, repeat. See, your brain was designed for efficiency, not greatness. It avoids effort the same way fire avoids water. But the soul burns for motion. And when the brain and soul disagree, you call it, I don't feel like doing it. That's the moment the rust begins. When you trade your purpose for comfort, you don't even notice it. You're scrolling through other people's lives, consuming fragments of other realities until your own feels too heavy to lift. It's not that you don't want to live differently. It's that your nervous system has been trained to confuse stimulation with meaning. You've been programmed to crave small hits of satisfaction, not big waves of fulfillment. Every notification is a microdose of control in a life where you feel you've lost the bigger one. But all those little highs, they blur your sense of direction. You end up mistaking motion for progress and wonder why you still feel hollow. Here's the hard truth. Procrastination isn't laziness. It's fear wearing a soft blanket. Fear of not being enough. Fear of starting and realizing that the dream doesn't look like the fantasy. But every time you delay, you reinforce the belief that you can't. You rehearse failure without even trying. You tell yourself you're waiting for the right time, but time doesn't become right, you do. Waiting doesn't make you stronger, it makes the wall taller. Now imagine if you stopped treating your dreams like drafts. If you gave them deadlines, attention, respect. If you treated your life as something urgent, not in panic, but in purpose. Because time doesn't wait for your alignment, it rewards your action. And this is where everything changes. Most people try to beat procrastination with force, motivation, caffeine, guilt. But that's like painting over rust. It looks fine until the decay breaks through again. You don't need more effort. You need more truth. You need to understand why you move, not just how. If your why is shallow, your how will drown. But when the why is alive, it moves you naturally, constantly like heartbeat. So stop asking, how do I stop procrastinating? Ask instead, what am I afraid will happen if I actually change? Because your brain already knows how to act. It's your beliefs that don't. And once you question them, the paralysis breaks, the rust cracks, and movement returns. Here's the paradox. The moment you begin, you no longer need motivation. Action creates the energy you were waiting for. Movement generates clarity. The cycle reverses. Effort becomes momentum, and momentum becomes identity. Start with something embarrassingly small. Open the document. Make the call. Write one line. That's it. Don't chase the finish line. Chase the friction, because friction is proof you're alive. Before you scroll away, if you're hearing this, maybe it's not by accident. Maybe this is the reminder you've been avoiding. Your time isn't infinite, and nothing will ever feel ready. The only difference between the people you admire and you is that they started while still scared. So here's your choice. Keep polishing excuses, or start building evidence that you can. Because the rust doesn't vanish on its own. It waits quietly for you to forget you ever wanted more. You ever notice how easy it is to plan a new life at midnight? And how impossible it feels to start it the next morning? That's not weakness, that's chemistry. Your brain runs on dopamine, the same molecule that lights up when you scroll, snack, or dream big but never move. It's not the molecule of pleasure like they told you. It's the molecule of anticipation. The hit doesn't come from doing. It comes from imagining you'll do. So every time you say, tomorrow, I'll start, you actually reward your brain now. That's why procrastination feels oddly satisfying, and it tricks your biology into thinking you've already accomplished something. The to-do list unchecked becomes its own kind of drug, and the system loves loops. Every delay strengthens the circuit that says, later. Every postponement becomes a pattern, a groove. The more you slide into it, the deeper it gets. That's why it feels impossible to get out. Not because you're broken, but because you've rehearsed it perfectly. You've turned avoidance into expertise, and society monetizes that expertise. Scroll platforms are dopamine casinos, endless slot machines of novelty. Every swipe says, don't act, react. You're being trained to confuse thought for movement, consumption for creation. Here's the ugly brilliance of it. The same mechanism that keeps you trapped can free you. Dopamine doesn't care what it chases. It only needs direction. The secret isn't to kill the craving, it's to reroute it. When you make your brain crave progress instead of escape, everything changes. Small wins become the new scroll. Action becomes the new high. That's neuroplasticity, the brain's way of saying, I can change if you give me a reason. But it needs repetition, not miracles. The same way rust builds, clarity rebuilds, layer by layer. So start building friction into focus. If your phone steals your time, make it cost you to touch it. If distraction is a room, lock the door before you enter it. Don't wait to feel ready, make ready the default. And here's something no productivity guru tells you. Procrastination isn't solved by discipline. It's solved by meaning, because you can't force yourself forever. You can only align yourself. When you connect your action to something bigger than dopamine, to impact, love, purpose, the brain follows. Neurons literally fire in new directions. The reward system reorients. You begin to crave the work that once terrified you. But that shift starts with honesty. Ask yourself, what am I running from when I scroll? Silence? Pressure? Self-doubt? That's the truth under every "I'll do it later." And when you name it, it loses power. The brain stops looping because now the fear has a face. You can talk to it, walk with it, even thank it. It was only trying to protect you. This isn't about becoming a machine of discipline. It's about becoming a human who chooses, who rewires the ancient pattern of survival into a new pattern of creation. Because if procrastination is rust, then choice is the flame. And one spark, one conscious decision, starts to melt everything that was frozen. You won't win this battle in a day, but you can end the war tonight. Start with one act of defiance against your own comfort. Don't scroll, don't plan, just move. Send the signal to your brain. We're done waiting. And as you do, notice what happens. The pulse quickens, the focus sharpens, the noise fades. That's not stress, that's awakening. If you've been waiting for the universe to give you a sign, this is it. Because the truth is, no algorithm, no hack, no coach will ever replace the moment you decide to trust yourself enough to begin. The brain will fight it, of course. It always does. But every action is proof that you're rewriting the code. You're turning someday into done. So next time that rust whispers, "Not today," smile, because it just reminded you that today is exactly when it begins. There's a quiet second that happens before change. It's not loud or dramatic. It's the pause where your brain still tries to negotiate with the old you. The voice that says, maybe later, maybe tomorrow, maybe after I feel inspired. That's the last gatekeeper of your old reality. Every time you hesitate, it's that voice trying to save the version of you that can't come with you. And the only way to silence it isn't through force, it's through clarity. See, your brain doesn't want pain, it wants proof. Proof that the discomfort is worth it. Proof that the new path gives more meaning than the old loop. That's why purpose is the only antidote to procrastination. It's the difference between dragging yourself through the day and being pulled forward by something magnetic. When you find it, even a glimpse of it, the rust starts to fall away. And suddenly, what looked like resistance was really just fear of magnitude. Because purpose demands expansion, and expansion demands movement. And that's what nobody tells you about people who get things done. They're not superhuman. They're just people who stop negotiating with their potential. They built systems around truth, not motivation. They realize that waiting for the perfect moment is like waiting for a sunrise while your eyes are closed. You don't need permission, you need momentum. So stop worshipping readiness. It's not divine, it's a disguise. You don't need to feel ready to start. You start, and that's what makes you ready. Every morning you open your eyes. You're standing in a field of possibilities. You decide which one becomes real by what you give your attention to. And if you don't choose, someone else already has. Every scroll, every click, every delay is a vote for the world you'll live in tomorrow. So vote consciously. Vote for the version of you that actually lives, not just dreams. And this is where everything flips. The same mind that procrastinated is the one that can build empires. It just needs to remember what it's building for. You're not lazy. You're unanchored. You don't lack willpower. You lack a reason that shakes you awake. When you find it, hesitation doesn't stand a chance. And don't romanticize the process. You'll still have days of doubt, days you'll fall back into the scroll. But if you catch yourself even once and say, "No, I'm choosing me," then you're already breaking the pattern that once defined you. Because no one truly beats procrastination, they transcend it. It becomes the memory of someone who didn't know how powerful they were. And one day you'll look back and realize the rust was never permanent. It was waiting to shine. So take this as your sign, not from the universe, but from the part of you that's done watching life happen from the sidelines. You don't need another plan, another list, another perfect Monday. You just need one thing, to stop delaying the version of yourself that already knows what to do. Because deep down, you've always known. You were never waiting for motivation. You were waiting for permission. And this is it. Subscribe, stay close, and keep walking with us. This is Human Wave, where awakened minds rise into a life of wholeness and fulfillment.